Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers, sisters, viewers, friends of Ikra TV, welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm your host Iqbal Bana. As I say every week to you, I come into your homes, invade your privacy, but in the process I hope that when I do so, that I bring to you something of interest, something that might resonate with you, something that touches your lives on a day-to-day basis. So I try and bring guests on my program who can help us with some of those issues that we confront on a day-to-day basis. So every week I try and bring somebody in my studio to try and talk about issues that as I say, are affecting our lives on a day-to-day basis. Last week we talked about the attacks that are taking place in Gaza and the way the inhuman, brutal invasion of Gaza is taking place at the moment. And thousands of people have been, 1.2 million people have been displaced. Hundreds and thousands of people have lost their homes, and many people have died, including women, children, elderly, etc. Now, I condemned the attack last week on the Israeli people, the innocent people of Israel, by Hamas. And as I said, this channel will not support anybody who attacks innocent civilians, wherever they may be. And we made it absolutely clear that that is our position. But we also need to remind people about the context in which all this is taking place. 75 years of brutal occupation by a community, a force which is so powerful, supported by the West, particularly the United States and Great Britain, where though they have systematically moved people who've been living in that land for hundreds and thousands of years and shunting them out from that land indiscriminately over the last 75 years. However, as I said, we condemn the attack that took place on innocent people by Hamas 3-4 weeks ago. And today I wanted to bring some people on my program, particularly two people who have taken some leadership and shown some enormous courage, who have been supporters and members of the Labour Party, who, because of this attack and the failure by the leader of the Labour Party to ask for a ceasefire, because we've seen what's been happening, particularly in the last week or so, and since this conflict started in particular, that no aid has been going in. The Israeli government and the Israeli Defense Force have shut down electricity, water, medicine from going into Gaza itself, which has had a huge tragic impact on the people of Gaza, and also somewhere on the West Bank. Even the United Nations has said that this is a catastrophe that is happening in our lifetime. It's a human tragedy on an epic scale, and yet the West remains silent. Not only silent, is condemning, not willing to condemn what Israel is doing to the innocent people of Gaza. We know that Hamas does not speak for the population of Gaza in the whole, but we know that the population of Gaza in particular live in what has now been described correctly, in my view, as the world's biggest concentration camp. And what I say is that it does not behove those who have been the victims of the Holocaust and the concentration camps to now become the prosecutors and the persecutors of the people in Gaza and Palestine itself. So I had two guests lined up today who had both agreed very generously to come on my program. Councillor Shaista Aziz from Oxford, who was one of the first people to resign from the Labour Party, who showed enormous courage and conviction for her principles, and also Sister Amna, who was a councillor in Manchester City Council, again member of the Labour Party, who also resigned very promptly after Keir Starmer made his speech where he said Israel had the right to self-defense, but also, and this is the important bit, for withdrawing food, water and medication to the people of Gaza. Over the last few weeks, we've seen how Israel has indiscriminately bombed Gaza regardless who was the target, although they claim that the targets are the Hamas fighters. Well, as I'm sure, as the cloud clears around this, we will find out, and we have already found out, because as United Nations have said, that thousands of innocent people have been killed indiscriminately in this attack. And as Israel has now stepped their troops into the area, we know that more and more innocent people, the elderly, particularly women and children, are going to be murdered. So today's program is going to be open because both my sisters who are supposed to be here, unfortunately, because in one case a family bereavement, is not able to join me, and when it comes to Sister Saista Aziz, that I've been told that somebody has passed away in their family. So I pray that Allah gives them the highest place in Jannah and gives the family sabr. And if for Sister Amana, her mother is being discharged from hospital this evening, and she needs to be there looking after her. And I perfectly understand the reason why she's not able to join us. I'm hoping that both of them will, in the next few weeks, will be able to come and join me and share their thoughts around this issue, because obviously they felt passionate about the position of the Labour Party. We know what the government's position is. It has been for many, many years, and it's it's not a surprise to all of us that where they stand at the moment on this particular issue. Despite millions of people raising their voice and asking for a ceasefire so that humanitarian aid can go in, as I say, including by the United Nations and many, many other countries as well, that this government has failed to do so. In fact, not only abstained, voted against the United Nations resolution for a ceasefire. So I want to make this program for you. This is an opportunity for you to call in and share your thoughts in the absence of my guests about what you feel we need to do. How do you think we need to respond to this crisis? The one thing I would say is we need to respond in a way that Islam teaches us, and that is to make sure that we don't respond with violence. We need to make sure that we are peaceful in whatever we do. We have seen some unfortunate incidents taking place. Near where I live in Dewsbury, Starbucks, which is there, has been vandalized, I've been told. Graffiti has been put on it, and that, I think, is counterproductive for us as well. Yet we've seen thousands and thousands of people march down the streets of London. We've had thousands of people up and down the country in various cities all over the country asking for peace, asking for humanitarian peace, asking for people the government to actually declare that there is a need for a ceasefire so that urgent medication can go in, urgent supplies can go in. We've seen that hospitals have been bombed as well, and today we've been told that there's a hospital that has been targeted by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. They've been given warning to get out of there as soon as possible before they either annihilate the people there, which I hope they don't. So if you want to phone in, please, and share your thoughts, the phone number is 01274 214 299. You know this number, I'm sure. I know aid is being raised, fundraising is taking place throughout all the world, and particularly in this country as well. All the charitable organizations are raising funds to send in aid as soon as they can. Some charities are already on the ground and they're doing some work, but we know that not much aid is going in. Whatever aid is going in is going through Egypt, through the Rafah crossing, and that is being limited to 15, 20, 30 trucks, whereas 200 trucks were going in every day, according to UN Human Resources organization and charitable organizations. 20, 30, 40 trucks a day is not going to make a dent in what is going on over there and the requirement and the need of the people there at the moment, which is much more prolific and much more urgent than it has been since the last 4 weeks. So I'm looking forward to you calling in. As I say, 01274 214 299, sharing your thoughts with me. How should we respond? What should we do? What can we do? We've seen lots of people, particularly councillors in the Labour Party, who have resigned their position. In Oxford, for example, not just Muslim councillors, but non-Muslim councillors have resigned. And in elsewhere as well, non-Muslim councillors have resigned and said, we do not want to have anything to do with a Labour Party that does not believe in social justice and equality and humanitarianism. Because that's all they were asking for, to say, we want you as a party, our party, which in the past has been at the forefront of social justice, for equality and diversity. And particularly if I remember in the days of South Africa, when apartheid was the norm, when black people were being classed as second-class citizens, It was the Labour Party that I joined, which was at the forefront of fighting against apartheid. It was the Labour Party that I believed in. And now that very same Labour Party no longer seems to be supporting action against apartheid regime, which some of their own members, including Gerald Kaufman, one of the most respected members of the Labour Party, said in Parliament that he considers that to be an apartheid state. Yet the new leadership of the Labour Party refuses to acknowledge that. And anyone in this country who wants to campaign and work against apartheid in Israel is seen as anti-Semite. Well, let me make myself clear. I have some very good Jewish friends, and I have no truck against those people in the Jewish state who believe in equality and social justice, who believe in human beings and the ability for human beings to live together side by side on equal terms. But where I have a difference with is those people who claim to be Zionist and on the basis of Zionism are willing to go to people's homes during the night, during the day, threaten them, evict them from their homes that they've been living in for thousands of years, and telling them that this is no longer their land, which is what the Boers and the British did in South Africa. They threw people out of their land. And if that was apartheid, then this is apartheid as well, as far as I'm concerned. And therefore, my challenge and my campaign is not against the Jewish community itself. It's against those who are Zionists, who believe that they have the right over a piece of land that other people have lived in for thousands of years. So I ask you, what can we do as a community? We have seen hundreds of thousands of people in this country, as I say, march against what is happening at the moment, asking for a ceasefire. Yet the leadership of the Labour Party is refusing to sanction that, refusing to acknowledge that, and refusing to support that. Three of very senior members of the Labour Party, the Mayor of Manchester, the Mayor of London, and others have come out to say we now need a ceasefire. We need humanitarian aid going in now, not tomorrow, needed to go in yesterday to try and save young kids, young children, unborn children, elderly people, those who are disabled, who are in that hospital at the moment in North Gaza, who have been given a threatening notice to get out of there. So I want you, this is the opportunity for you to ring in and share your thoughts. Please do so if you can. As I say, the 01274 214 299, and share what you think. How do you feel about this? How has it affected you? How do you feel the United Kingdom government has responded to this sad state of affairs? And they're witnessing this tragedy happening day in, day out. Let me open the platform to yourself and let me hear from you so you can tell us how you feel. If you want to, then this opportunity is there for you. As I say, the Conservative Party has made their position very clear, that they feel that Israel has the right to defend itself. And I don't deny that. And this channel does not deny that. The leadership of the Labour Party have said that Israel has the right to defend itself. Again, we accept that, we don't deny that. But the way they have responded, despite calls from around the world, is not proportional. And we condemn what happened on the 7th in the way that the innocent people were murdered, allegedly, and killed, and the hostages that have been taken by Hamas. We ask for those hostages to be returned safely back to their families. Now, we know for a fact that the indiscriminate bombing that is taking place from the Israeli side has already killed some of those hostages, and that has been verified by Hamas themselves. But we don't want any more of those hostages to be killed, either by Hamas or by the indiscriminate bombing that is taking place from the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. We know that there's future marches taking place in our cities, towns and cities all over the country, and we want the government to listen to these voices that are rising up. Muslim and non-Muslim, people of faith and people of no faith at all, are rising up and saying, not in our name. We saw this happen during the Iraq War, and we saw the outcome of that. The bloodbath and the bloodshed that has continued from that time is unabated. we're still seeing the aftermath of that event after 9/11. And if we want to make sure that we don't see this happen in future, and if Israel wants to have a safe community, a safe state, then as I said last week, and many people have said, we need to go to the two-state solution. That is before the 1967 war, the boundaries, and that's the UN resolution that has been on the table for so many years. Yet the British government and America and some in the West have failed to see that come to light. And everybody has said that if we go to that two-state solution, we will see peace in the Middle East. The other thing that many people have questioned me is, what is happening with the other Muslim states, so-called Muslim states? Why are they not condemning what is going on at the moment? And we know some of them have. We saw what happened in Rajasthan yesterday, where people took to the airport and protested about a flight coming in from Tel Aviv. Now, we say we don't want people to take direct action and the law into their own hands. That's far from what I would sort of condone. But we do need to take some direct action. And the one thing that we were taught from the apartheid regime in South Africa is that boycotts do work. I know, I was involved in it, and I had the pleasure of meeting Nelson Mandela on 3 occasions. And each time he said, if it wasn't for the boycott by the British people that started off in this country initially and spread throughout the world, South Africa would not have been free as it was as soon as it happened. It would have been another 10, 15 years before South Africa would have been free. So what do you think about the boycott? We are going to a break very shortly. I hope that people are listening to me or watching this program, and I hope that when you come back from the break, you will pick up the phone and ring in and tell us your thoughts and give us your thoughts on what we need to do. Boycott, no boycott, how do we need to respond to all this, the tragedy that is unfolding in front of our screens. And as day by day this goes on, more and more innocent people on both sides are going to be killed. And that is not something that I would like to see, and I'm sure my viewers would like to see. And Islam forbids the killing of innocent people. As I said last week, even those who are survived after the war, after jihad. And this word jihad has been usurped by a lot of people. And now there's a movement against the word jihad itself in this country. It's been taken out of context, and then you might want to come and talk to me about that. Inshallah, don't go away. I hope you've heard me, and you will ring in after the break. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May Allah be with you and be those who have been the victims of this tragedy.